Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Apples and Genos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Nate Groot Niblink. I'm the creator of Apples and Genos, originator of the Zero G Draft Strategy. And in this podcast, Blake and I are going to give you all the best streamers and ad options for next week so you can start planning early. Let's get it. And of course, I have your friend and my best friend, the hunk with spunk, Blake Creamer. Blake, how are you feeling tonight?
Giggity. I feel good, man. Yeah, really great to see you. Damn, I feel like ever since Four Nations, it's been a bit disjointed. I feel like I'm not getting my Nate fix here, and that's hurtful to me. Like I'm dying a little bit inside each day. So this right here is my sunshine. Okay, and that feels really good. Also, I feel like I'm zooted up on sugar. My wife, she went to Costco the other day. I know you can relate to this, Nate, because of your pixie stick addiction, but
Right.
yeah, thank you. That's good. He takes accountability. That's good. Self-awareness is the first thing, and then you make a change. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, my wife goes to Costco and she just made a really poor decision. She bought a double box of Reese peanut butter puffs. Have you ever had these, Nate?
Ooh, yes.
Good God. I mean, who invented this? What evil, horrible person invented this? So now I got this here at my house, and I can't just eat one bowl. I have to eat until I feel sick. So basically, the box lasts, as long as I finish it breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then once it's done, it's done. But I'm all zooted up here. Reese peanut butter puffs. Hey, actually, side note as well. Sorry about this, Nate. If anybody has a hookup to Reese's. I want to be sponsored by Reese's. That would be
I'm into that.
the ultimate sponsor. So if anybody has a hookup with the Reese's people, please give us a call because Nate and I we'll just go bonkers on that stuff. I'll eat a jar of peanut butter right on the air. I don't even care. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at with it. So
I just shove a sleeve of Reese's down my gullet while we're talking.
It's a no-brainer. I do that anyway. So it'd be nice to get paid for it, right?
All right. With that in mind, let's take it over, Blake. Let's bring in the Newsies.
Newsies. We got it. We got the news you need here at Apples and Genos, and it feels nice. Let's start in Anaheim. John Gibson. All right. He's potentially back there. Obviously, he's been injured, and Lucas Dostal has been tending the net there in Anaheim. So, yeah, it looks like John Gibson will probably be back in the next couple games here. I wanted to get your quick take on that, Nate. Do you think that Gibson still has value as a zero-G goalie? And, I mean, do you think that he gets traded here at the deadline and potentially, gains more value?
I think it's possible. Edmonton was talked about as one potential spot, but now it sounds like Edmonton's not really looking for goaltending. They're going to ride with Stuart Skinner.
Why?
For whatever reason. So yeah, that was the spot that would get you a little bit excited, right? Like that was the spot. So if that's off the table, then it's a little less exciting, right? Like there still might be an injury that happens. That can always happen, and somebody desperately needs a goaltender, and suddenly things move along. But yeah, I don't know what the likelihood is, but I think there's something there. If he stays in Anaheim, then it's just kind of sad status quo for both him and Dostal.
Yeah, keep an eye on it, folks. I mean, it's one of those guys. He's probably on your waiver wire. Like it's, I'm not saying he's a must-add when he gets traded, if he gets traded, but depending where he goes, if he goes, there could be some value there. In Utah, the Utah Hockey Club, worst name in sports, vegetable lasagna, Karel Vejmelka. He looks like he's going to be getting some run here as per head coach Torini there. He said, as much in recent interviews here that he's going to ride Vejmelka for a little bit here, giggity. So, yeah, your Connor Ingram stocks falling off a cliff. That's unfortunate, but Vejmelka's been great this year. So just a heads up, if he's out there on your waivers, I think this is a guy that can definitely give you some value here for 0G. These guys are in a wild card hunt. So, yeah, and Vejmelka's going to be at the helm. So just a piece of news for you to help you out. Over to Jersey, Jacob Markstrom. Sounds like he's nearing a return as well. He's been practicing with the team, taking some reps there. Still no timeline, but that's good news. I think they sorely need him. Jersey's been sagging a bit here, and I think Markstrom could be a little bit of a boost that they might need. So let's keep an eye on that. Hopefully he gets back in the lineup soon. Kirby Dach, this is the fantasy news you all needed here. Nate just yawned right in the middle of me talking about Kirby Dach. So yeah, that's that's the level we're at here. But yeah, he's out for the season, knee surgery. Jimmy Crackcorn, and I don't care. I'm sure he's a nice person and epic name, Kirby Dach. That's just cool. That sounds cool to me. I wish my name was Kirby Dach. Let's move over to Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk, Josh Norris, and the Pinto Bean, Shane Pinto. They're all looking to be good to go for Saturday's game here. So check your lineups, but if you got them, get ready to activate if you need them in there. Obviously, Brady for sure. I think Norris, he's going to probably be on power play 1. What do you think, Nate? He was before he got injured there.
Yeah, I imagine they'll go back to the same unit. That's got to be the most likely scenario here for sure. So that would be my baseline expectation. I would love to see Pinto get a run there for sure, but most likely it's Norris that reprises his role there.
There you go. Let's head over to LA. Drew Doughty had a weird kind of a late scratch there for their second to last game there. He did return on Friday here, but it's kind of risky bisky to me a little bit. It sounds like he said that Drew Doughty, he said that this is an injury that he's just going to be dealing with for the duration of the season. So I don't know. I don't like the sounds of that. You're not doing anything with that information. You're not getting off Drew Doughty or dropping him, but there could be some load management moving forward. Maybe he doesn't play back-to-backs. I don't know, something like that. So just keep it in the back of your mind, like when you're looking at your streaming schedules for the upcoming weeks. Like if LA has back-to-backs, there's potential that maybe Doughty manages that injury in one of those games. So you might be able to just put him in your IR and then stream a player in on that night. Just something to think about. Chris Kreider, chicken necks. That vampire bait. Oh, my God. Missed a third straight game on Friday, so that stinks for him. But obviously, I don't think he's been healthy all year. Vincent Trocheck's been seeing power play 1 time as well. Alexis Lafreniere as well, getting up there, doing stuff. They're doing a 5-4 set on power play 1 in New York. That is always a good idea, right, Nate?
Always a good idea. I mean, it makes sense. Adam Fox is really the only guy they have who, in my view, can run a power play at a high level. So yeah, I think it makes sense. I don't know how long it lasts necessarily, but I think it does make some sense for them.
I'm surprised they don't go with Lindgren there. Ryan Lindgren, I thought he might get a look. This is a guy that has some acumen, some offensive acumen.
Some acumen. Yeah, they've tried Keandre Miller for a lot of the season as the second power play guy, so theoretically it would make the most sense that he would get the promotion, but yeah, so far 5 forward.
Yeah. I've been reading a thesaurus lately, Nate. So I'm really gonna try and up my vocabulary here because I'm really not keeping up to you. You know, you always throw in these words. I don't know what the hell is going on. I have to Google it mid-show. I feel like a dingus. So, acumen, sure. That's my contribution there. Anyways, so and real quick, what do you think about Chris Kreider this year? Well, what is your take on him moving forward? Because he does potentially play another game this week. He was ruled out for this game here on Friday. I think he might come back here in this next game. It doesn't sound like something that's going to keep him out that much longer. What do you think about Chris Kreider rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, he's been banged up all year long at this point, and yeah, I generally don't subscribe to the theory that players will be load managed. I don't think players really like it that much, and so I don't really like to assume or even think that until we get some evidence of that. But in my mind, we've kind of already got some evidence of that with Kreider here, where it doesn't seem to really be something new, just maybe a little bit more aggravation of it. And so there's a pretty good chance in my mind that Kreider doesn't play back-to-backs the rest of the year. They need him. Like they didn't beat the Leafs tonight. That's a big hit in the standings for them. Every game's a big hit. Like they got the Senators right there. They got the Blue Jackets holding down the final spot right now, and they're 4 points back with the same amount of games played. So they need it for sure. But yeah, I think that there's a pretty good chance that Kreider just can't go on some nights.
Who doesn't like to get their load managed, Nate? Is that what you're saying here?
I think there are some players who would avoid it.
Sickies. All right, let's move on. How about Pittsburgh, the bunt cake, Michael Bunting. He's out indefinitely after having his appendix out. Rest up, King. Get well soon. Come back and, really do nothing on power play 2 and line 3. All right. Thank you, Michael Bunting. In bigger fantasy news, Roman Josi. He's got an uppy body injury. And he's not playing right now. There's still not a lot of information there, and he's still being evaluated. But there was a weird quote that Andrew Burnett said. He's like, I don't know. It could be day to day, week to week. He could be out for the season. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It's like, thanks. Yeah, I know you're not a doctor. You're also not a very good coach, apparently, Mr. Burnett. But, can you give us some information on this stud Roman Josi? So I don't know. Brady Shea is running power play 1 there. So I think there's a boost in value. What is your quick take on the Nashville Predators? I talked about them in the pod I did yesterday a little bit. I feel like they're going to regress back to the mean a little bit positively, but nothing crazy. Like where are you at with the Preds right here?
Yeah, it's a tough spot, right? I don't like what's been going on this year, and it just seems like there's never been a time where they've actually gotten untracked and started to put it together. It seems there's been like 2 games here, 2 games there, but there's never been like a 3, 4, or 5 game stretch where it's like, okay, that's the Predators that we thought we were getting this year.
Yep.
That has just never happened this year. At some point, you just have to kind of throw up your hands and say, maybe next year.
Yeah.
They could have this kind of end to the season, the spoiler end to the season where, like they have talented players. Like that's not the problem here. That could happen, but there's nothing that's really suggesting that it will to me.
Yeah. Besides like the law of averages, but
Right.
That's not something we bank on. You know what I mean? They haven't done it up to this point. So I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty damn painful, man. Stamkos is like this guy's an enigma. I don't get it. I feel like Jonathan Huberdeau is the first guy I ever saw take a huge fall like that, production wise. And now we've got these guys all over the place. Elias Pettersson, Stamkos. Just crazy low point production for a lot of these players. And it's weird to see. Anyways, that's a story for another pod. Let's move over to the Rangers. Adam Fox. I guess I could have talked about this with Chicken Next Chris Kreider, but that's how we're doing it. Adam Fox is on the IR. He's going to be out for a little bit, but should be back for the stretch run. So that's good. But like we said, they're going to run a 5-forward power play set there. A little bit of benefit to Lafreniere and Trocheck with Fox out. Also, actually, Braden Schneider he's just getting some more minutes. And that's a guy that he's a banger. He's a big time beefer. So I think there's some sneaky value there with Braden Schneider. He's like a Trouba light, and I think he's getting a little bit more run with Fox on the shelf. So there you go. Over to Minnesota. Joel Eriksson Ek, he's out week to week. We haven't talked about this yet because we haven't done a pod in a little while together. But yeah, it's going to be a slog for the Minnesota Wild there. It's really painful. I wanted to get your quick take on Ryan Hartman when he comes back. Do you think, Nate, that he's going to step into kind of an increased offensive role?
I think it's definitely possible. Like they could use him as a center, either on the first or second line. It depends if they want to try to spread out. They have kind of the top guys now: Zuccarello, they have Rossi, and they have Boldy, right? And so do they want to try to do 2 pairs? And if they think Hartman is the second part of a couple of pairs and try to have 2 lines that way, it's definitely possible. That would honestly be the worst thing for fantasy, probably, right? A little bit better for Hartman, but bad for everybody else. So, keep your eyes open. That's all we can say at this point. But I would expect that Hartman would replace Hinostroza, who's been holding down some extra minutes. I think he was picked up off waivers, and now he's like top line, top power play in Minnesota. Of course he is. This year.
That's the situation there.
That is the situation. So, I think it's at least possible. Like even in this game, they split up Zuccarello away from Boldy and Rossi. So, yeah.
There you go. Shout out to Ryan Hartman. He's his status on Yahoo right now is NA. And in one of my leagues, I have an NA spot, and I just picked him right up, put him in the NA spot because I also have Jeek in that team, and actually, I saw a report just recently from Bill Guerin, like this Jeek could be back. He could be back close to the playoff time, like maybe like week 22, 23, right around that time. Like you might be able to get something out of Jeek. So, I wouldn't be dropping Jeek unless you absolutely have to. Hold him on your IR plus. That's my 2 cents there. Last thing, Matty Tkachuk. That all-time dingus, that legend, the beautiful flow. He's injured. Okay, and we haven't talked about that. But he's on a media tour, which is amazing. All right, shout out to Matty Tkachuk. He was on Jimmy Fallon the other day. It was actually a pretty funny interview. I weirdly like the man. I don't know because the Amazon Prime thing, and then I don't know, but he's an absolute goober. Anyways, he's injured, probably going to be back before the end of the season. But what's your quick take on the Florida Panthers here? Who's benefiting right off the hop? And, I got to shout out Sam Bennett. I think obviously he's flying right now in terms of his metrics. Like, how do you see things shaking out until Matt Tkachuk returns?
Yeah, Bennett gets the bump up to top power play in Kachuk's absence, so obviously that helps him. But I mean, worth noting, like Bennett and Kachuk have been together for the vast majority of the past few seasons at even strength. So yeah, it is a bit of a minus for Bennett at even strength for sure. I think he's been playing with Rodriguez and Samoskevich. Is that still the line? Yeah, that was still the line in the last game.
All right.
Yeah, it's not the best line mates that Sam Bennett has ever played with for sure, but he is getting that power play one look, so maybe it's a wash in the end. A few more extra minutes here or there potentially, but yeah, that's about where it's at for him. I'm kind of surprised that you spoke well of Matt Kachuk's head of hair, to be honest, but I
Well,
guess
he's
you
got
give
like
him
a
that
Jerry
style.
curl kind of in the back. Like,
Yeah.
he's got some nice lettuce, man. I mean, when you got what I'm dealing with here, the cul-de-sac in the back, you look at a man with nice curly locks of hair and you just wish, I wish that I had what Matt Tkachuk has. So that's kind of where I'm at. You don't have to worry about this. I saw your head of hair, Nate. You got a beautiful head of hair and a lovely mustache. Um, That's it, buddy. We got to do stuff, all right? We're farting around here. We got to talk about that schedule. It's week 20. Nate, attack it.
All right, let's attack that schedule. On Monday, we have 6 games. On Tuesday, we have 10 games. Wednesday, 5. Thursday, 9. Friday, 6. Saturday, 10. And Sunday, 8 games. This is really nice. 54 total games played. It's a normal week in that regard, but there are streaming options galore this week. If you want to do a Sunday stream with a Monday back to back, New York Rangers and Toronto both provide that. If you want a Monday, Tuesday back to back to open the week, Buffalo, the Islanders, the Sharks, and the Lightning all provide you that. 6 teams with Monday, Wednesday off nights to open the week: Chicago, LA, New York Rangers, Ottawa, Toronto, and Washington. 6 teams again with Wednesday, Friday off nights: Anaheim, Chicago, St. Louis, Vancouver, Vegas, and Washington. And then 8 teams with Friday, Sunday off nights: Anaheim, Minnesota, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Vancouver, Vegas, Washington, and Winnipeg. This might be the best streaming week of the year, Blake. Pretty good chance that you can fit a streamer in on any night. Yeah, this might be it. What do you think?
I love it. I love when back-to-backs are in play, right? Because we can't utilize them when these big, like 12, 13 game Tuesdays and Thursdays, like we can't do it. But this is going to be awesome because back-to-backs to me are a really great way to maximize your games played.
For sure. Yeah, this is definitely a week to evaluate how many games played you're getting, because there's a pretty good chance you will be able to get these guys in even on some of the heavy nights. So take a look at your rosters and see what nights you have open even on heavy nights. All right, Blake, let's talk about the worst teams to stream from. Let's lower some expectations.
Lowered expectations. Ooh, that was nice. Yeah, if I take a little off of it, I can stay in tune. That's just a tip for you, you fledgling singers out there. All right, I don't know where I'm going with that. This is pretty cut and dry here in this week. There's a clear cut team that stinks for this upcoming week, and it's going to be really hard to roster some of these players. And it's the Utah. I want to say Utah Saints. I know you don't know who that is, Nate, but Utah Saints is like a hip hop band from the '90s. Very good stuff. Shout out to the Utah Saints. Hit me up in the comments if you know the Utah Saints. All right, and let Nate know. Okay, just give him a good recommendo. But anyways, Utah plays Thursday, Friday. So I mean, maybe you do a 2-game stream of a Utah player if you want. That's fine, but it's going to be pretty tough. So we got to look at some of the players on that team that we're potentially dropping here. And I mean, if you're fighting to get into the playoffs, maybe you have to think about some of this stuff. So, Nate, I'm going to give you some names here. You talk to me about these players here. Logan Cooley. I'm not dropping Logan Cooley. I'm sorry. I can't. But I guess you can. Nick Schmaltz is there. Sean Dursey is a player that I picked up in a lot of spots. And now I'm going to have to drop in a lot of spots because that stinks. And Barrett Hayton, who has been playing pretty damn well as of late, 5 points in his last 5 games. Buddy, that's excellent. So, I mean, talk to me about the Utah players here. These are their core players. And what are we doing with these guys?
Yeah, I would hold on to Cooley. I would hold on to Nick Schmaltz. He's got 6 points in his last 4. But Dursey and Hayton, I think I would be willing to let go of. I just don't think we have any guarantee that Barrett Hayton isn't off the top power play by the time next week rolls around. And if he's not, then that significantly decreases his interest for fantasy for me.
Yep.
And so I do think that you can drop Hayton for next week if you really do need to, if he is that last kind of guy on your roster, right? Definitely don't think you have to hold Hayton in, your standard kind of 12-team league.
Yeah. And Utah doesn't have a atrocious schedule moving forward either. So you're going to want to hold on to some of these top guys, Logan Cooley and Schmaltz for sure. I love what I'm seeing there. But I do think Cooley's going to get that power play 1 back at some point here. It doesn't make a lot of sense for Hayton to continue that on, but yeah, he's been playing well, running with it. It's nice. There are also 5 teams that have 3 games with 0 off nights. But again, remember the busy nights here are a 10-game Tuesday, a 9-game Thursday, and a 10-game Saturday. You can get players in there. So we're definitely not saying you have to drop players from these teams. Again, just to reiterate what Nate has said, like this week, you're going to be focusing more on games played, like as opposed to getting those off nights per se, because, the schedule is really nice and you'll have lots of options anyway. And those 5 teams that play 3 games with 0 off nights: Boston Bruins, Calgary Flames, Colorado Avalanche, Edmonton Oilers, and the Nashville Predators. All right. If Stamkos has been dropped to your waiver wire, pick him up. Oh, yeah. Come on. That's a Nate guarantee. Right, Nate?
I don't think I could sign off on
that. Oh, damn. All right. He's not guaranteeing it, but you just look into his eyes, folks. You got to get on YouTube. Check out this man's eyes. He wants to pick up Stamkos. All right. Nate, we got to move on to the next segment here. Crossing the streams. We got to talk about the best teams to stream, Nate. We do this, and it feels great. Did I actually, buddy, I haven't seen you in so long. Did I tell you this? I had a crazy experience the other night. I meant to message you about this. Full disclosure to the folks out there. It's been a while since Nate and I crossed the streams, right? We had the 4 nations, right? We got other life stuff getting in the way. And then, honestly, Nate, like every time I ask him, he either has a headache or he's too tired, okay? He doesn't want to cross the streams. That's fine, right? I can read between the lines, but I think I'm backed up, right? I'm very backed up in terms of crossing the streams. And I was sleeping the other night, and I guess I must have started sleepwalking, right? I do that occasionally, right? It's a little weird, but that's fine. Apparently, according to my wife, I just made my way down the stairs and I stood in our living room where I keep all my sports memorabilia, right? I got a little section there in the corner. I got a bunch of stuff. And the noise, it woke my wife up and she came down to see what I was doing. And she saw me standing there just over a bunch of my hockey cards. And basically I just dropped trow, right? And I'm whizzing my brains out. Okay. I'm trying to high five someone, right? So I'm air high fiving. I'm going to town here. And the funny thing is, I remember the dream I was having. Nate and I were together, right? You're in the dream. And we had just finished, it was weird, like an 80s style workout. You know what I'm talking about? Like step aerobics or like jazzercise. You know what I'm talking about? And another weird thing too, and this happens in my dreams, like I knew it was you, but you had Boone Jenner's head, right? which is really weird. It threw me for a loop. But, it wasn't going to get in the way of this epic, dream stream cross, right? Anyways, we're both wearing spandex, leg warmers, okay? And we just wanted to top off an awesome workout with the only way we knew how, right? We wanted to feel like men, okay? And then, honestly, back to reality, here I am just dousing my hockey card collection. And unfortunately, one of my prized possessions, my Tony DeAngelo rookie card, was taking the brunt of the damage. It's unbelievable. Now the Tony D card, it's a pulpy mess. And, you can still make out the flipped up collar and the $2 haircut, right? But I mean, my wife, she just grabbed my shoulders and she said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, I guess I just pulled up my jammies, right? I walked upstairs with her. And, the next morning she told me, she said, like, she'd give me this story, and she said that it was weird. I had like a single tear in my eye, which she described as a happy tear. So I don't know. When she told me the story the next day, it just made me grateful for my friend Nate Grutniblick here. And I really look forward to our next epic crossing of the streams. Buddy, I'm happy to see you. That's my story. That's what's going on there.
It's a great story, Blake. I'm happy to be a part of your dreams.
It's not the first time, Nate. Okay, let's disagree on that. All right, we got to talk. We got fantasy hockey here, Nate. This is serious business here. We got some good teams here. Damn, I have to compose myself here. I'm just going through the dream in my head again. There's lots of great teams. Again, like we said, the off nights, not the main focus. You don't have to do like a one team stream here to get on those off nights, right? Because we got a lot of options, but we got a perfect schedule here. Washington Capitals, 4 games, 4 off nights. Love that. And we got some players there that are doing stuff, right? Obviously, PLD out there. Nate, what are we doing?
I think he's over 50% rostered, so he didn't make the cut for the list here. But
God, you're picking PLD up if he's out there. You get him on your roster, and you do it now. Okay, Nate figured that out a long time ago, and I'm really happy for him. But yeah, we're looking at guys like Alexei Protas, who's been great. Obviously, like running hot with his efficiency, but who cares? The guy's he's popping off right now. Connor McMichael has found his game again. Matt Waugh. Oh God, I can't speak French. My son's in French immersion. I'm an embarrassment to him. Like absolutely. He's like, Dad, get the hell out of here. But he says it in French. I don't even know what he's saying. Martin Fervari, right? For Bangers Leagues. Fervari. Taylor Radish. Talk to me about the Caps and who you like here.
Yeah, I think definitely Protas makes a lot of sense as the top guy here. He's hot at the moment. He's playing with Dylan Strome and Alex Ovechkin at even strength. Connor McMichael is playing with PLD and Taylor Radish as of the last game. That's a decent spot as well. Taylor Radish is on the top power play in this last game with PLD, Strome, and Ovechkin. So that's the only reason he's making this list. But yeah, something to take note of. I don't think it'll continue, but it's there at the moment. So I have to make note of that. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of interest in Matt Roy or Martin Verhervery. But, Bangers League, Verhervery does that, so.
I love that both of us cannot say that man's name properly. I feel like
knew at one point,
yeah,
and then I started making joking about it and just pretending that I couldn't, and now I actually can't.
Now we don't pronounce any of the consonants. It's just Brewery, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If anybody in the comments, can you please? Someone helped us out last time with Pavel Dorofeev. If someone could just shout out Pavel or Verhervery and let us know how to actually say that man's name, that'd be great.
Verhervery.
Fehervari.
According to the NHL pronunciation guide.
Oh, they have that?
Fehervari.
Why are we not using this?
Well, it's not that much fun, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's more fun to make fun of the names. All right, we're just going to keep doing what we do here. Let's move over to the next bunch of teams that have good schedules here. 4 teams have 4-game schedule with 3 off nights, and that's excellent. They are Anaheim, Chicago, LA. LA. I know you don't know who Brand Van 3000 is, but that's a good song. Shout out to Brand Van 3000 and the New York Rangers, right? So let's start in Anaheim and talk about some of these players here. They just waxed the Canucks the other night. It was horrible to watch, but somebody that did stand out, Jackson Lacombe. Holy moly, this kid is really, really good. Like there's no question here. And I'm very interested in that player moving forward. I did want to shout out to Jay Fresh, Corey Schneider just released some microstat cards on their Patreon as well. And Jackson Lacombe, if you want to just see something, go to Jay Fresh's Twitter and check out Jackson Lacombe's microstat card and see what's what. This guy is on another planet in terms of like zone exits, zone entries, chance assist, shot assist. He's doing it all. This guy's insane. He just plays for Greg Cronin, which is unfortunate, but great player. I do want to talk about, we got some banger players here. Jacob Trouba, Radko Gudas, both all-time dinguses. That's fine. Troy Terry and Mason McTavish as well. Throw Ryan Strome in there. Like, what do you like about the Ducks here? Anybody that you're kind of prioritizing over the others?
Yeah, I mean, Definitely Troy Terry, right? Like I'm always going to come back to that. Jackson Lacombe on the back end, as you mentioned, I don't understand how he's not rostered in more leagues. We've been pumping him up as our
Yeah.
top guy on D for a while now. Um, Truba and Gudas are clear bangers options. Gudas is probably gone in most categories leagues, to be honest with you. But yeah, Troy Terry I like a lot. And then Mason McTavish has been on top power play for a while. It's kind of like the Ryan Strome, Frank Vertrano, Troy Terry line, and then plus Mason McTavish. And that's kind of been the top unit. And they're actually kind of treating it as a top unit, which is a nice departure from years previous and even parts of this season. So I don't mind that. And yeah, Mason McTavish, it's not too much in terms of the underlying stats, but he does have 4 points his last five, 18 minutes average time on ice. You could do worse in a lot of spots.
Yep, absolutely. I'm not really interested in any of the other guys there on Anaheim, but I mean, Cutter Gauthier, Leo Carlson can do in a pinch, but in a week like this, you can get way better options there. And I do
Yeah.
want to say, I think Jackson Lacombe, this guy's must add at this point. You got to get him on your squad and deal with it on the back end. If he gets moved off the power play, then yeah, that's kind of stinks a little bit. But the level that this guy's playing at currently and the deployment he's getting, he's on a 47-point pace. Jackson Lacombe, it's the quietest 47 points you've ever seen on a really stinky team. But yeah, I'm starting to get excited about this player. I know you've been in on him for a little bit longer than that. So shout out to Jackson Lacombe. Let's keep going. Chicago Blackhawks, we got Ryan Donato. Oh, this guy's been the stream of the century. I have him on a bunch of teams, and I can't drop him. He's pissing me off. That's my streamer spot, Ryan, but he's playing well enough that I have to hold him on the team. So you got Ryan Donato, Toivo Teravainen, Tyler Bertuzzi, Connor Murphy, who picked up a random 3 assists the other night. He's a beefer. And then Frank Nazar, right? He's been up and down the lineup. It's bad vibes in Chicago right now. Like, are you looking at any of these guys? Like, does Donato or for me personally, it's Donato or Teravainen. Like, are those guys are you getting into them or maybe Bertuzzi?
Yeah, I'm not excited about any of these guys, to be honest with you. Um, I, I think you could flip a coin between Donato Teravainen and Bertuzzi, and you'd probably be right moving forward. Um, that's the best I could really give you. Bertuzzi, Donato were on the wings of Bedard in the last game, but like these lines have changed like game to game within games. I don't trust the lines at the moment to last longer than the
Yeah.
next game. So, yeah, you're kind of just taking a shot on a player who's not a good player probably on Chicago, and that doesn't feel good at any point. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we're at there. Nazar, like the guy has skill, you can see it, but I don't think he's ever gonna get like a real chance on top line, top power play. But I just want to shout him out because I do think that if at some point he ever got top line, top power play for the rest of the season, that would be worth looking at. And then yeah, Connor Murphy, obviously just a bangs, mostly a blocks guy.
And random assists, Nate. Come on. One thing I do want to say though about Chicago, and another thing why I'm not dropping Donato is they've got a great playoff schedule, right? So
Yep.
if they're still doing stuff on your squad, like it makes sense for me to hold them. Like in weeks 22 to 24, Chicago plays 10 games with 7 off nights. So that's excellent, right? You want those off nights. And then week 23 to 25, Chicago has 11 and 7 as well. So they're getting tons of games and those, really primo off nights. So these guys can do stuff for you. So if it makes sense and you're not really fighting to get into the playoffs, I don't mind the Chicago Blackhawks, even as they are constructed currently. Let's move over to the LA Kings. Quentin Byfield, Trevor Moore, he's doing stuff finally. Oh, God. And I dropped him before his goal tonight. That really stinks. I had him for his 2-goal game in a bunch of spots, but then I dropped him to add another game. And, of course, he pops again. Nate's favorite player, Alex Laferriere, Warren Fogle, Philip Deneau, Tanner Jeannot for bangers. I mean, how do you rate? I think Byfield is the clear choice here. So maybe take him out of the equation. What about Moore, Laferriere, and Fogle and Deneau? How are you ranking those players?
Yeah, it's really tough at the moment. The latest lines out of Los Angeles, they went Fiala, Kempe, Byfield as a kind of a true top line.
Mm-hmm.
Deneau, Fogle, Moore got the next most amount of minutes, and then the Kopitar, Turcotte, Laferriere line was clear third line. So yeah, it's a different look than they've had for much of the season there at the moment. I I like the minutes that Laferriere is getting over the last 5 games,
Yeah.
averaging almost 20 minutes a night. The underlying metrics aren't great, but they aren't bad. The underlying metrics are definitely better for Fogel and Moore. Fogel's got 5 points in his last five. He's feeling it. Moore has 3 goals in his last five. He's feeling it. I think you go either Fogel or Moore at the moment. Probably Moore just for the longer history of production that
Mhm.
you have with him. Probably Moore, Fogel. I would still go Leferrier, even though he seems to be a little bit snake bitten at the moment, and then go Dano as the last one.
There you go. Yeah, LA is going to be, these guys are all going to be in the picture, come playoff time. So definitely keep an eye on your LA Kings. Last team here, New York Rangers. We got Will Cooley. We got Keandre Miller. I thought that was JT Miller. Like JT Miller's day to day. You should probably have him on your team. It's Keandre. Okay. Cool name too. Anytime you got an apostrophe in your name, that's badass. And then Riley Smith. So any interest here? I mean, for me, if Keandre Miller, if he's getting power play one, if they decide to go with a, defenseman on that top power play, I'm definitely interested in Miller. But I don't know. Other than that, like Cooley's he's a banger. I know you streamed him in here in a spot and then got some production. Like, what's your take on these three?
Yeah, Miller, you're really just hoping that they decide to go for forward power play and put him back there on the top unit. Other than that, he's pretty hit or miss. You're just hoping for random assist kind of situation there. Will Cooley, though, was playing in this game here against Toronto, was playing with Sabanjad and Miller at even strength, JT Miller, that is. And so that's obviously a really nice spot and one where you could reasonably expect some production. Did get a shorty here tonight, so is currently scoring some goals, it looks like, and the hits are going to be off the wall with Will Cooley, as they always are. So you're getting something there. The underlying stats look good too. 69th in shots per 60, pretty nice. 40th in individual scoring chances for, pretty solid stuff. So I like that for Will Cooley at the moment.
Yeah, I've had Will Cooley in a couple spots throughout this season here, and it's been nice. I got to say, I didn't expect like a 40-ish point pace out of this guy, and he's been putting up some good offense, and obviously the bangs are lovely. All right, let's move on to the next couple teams here. New York Islanders, Winnipeg Jets, both play 4 games with 2 off nights. Let's start on the island because why the hell not? We got some beauties over here. We got Tony D. Yeah, Tony D'Angelo, man. Yeah. He's there. He's getting power play 1 over Dobby. What? I mean, what do you think about that real quick? Is that something that maybe Patrick Roy is going to do moving forward? Is it just to kind of ease Dobby in, Giggity?
Yeah, I think it's probably more of the latter there. They also they're kind of splitting their units, right? Like Brock
Yep.
Nelson is not with Bo Horvat, and those are kind of like the top 2 guys in my mind when I'm looking at what a top power play unit would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I think Noah Dobson actually had more power play time in this game than Tony D'Angelo, despite being on the
Look at that.
quote unquote second unit. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I would still love to see them actually load up a top power play and kind of do the right thing that way. I mean, they've done this in the past, right? Like
Yep.
Palmieri's been on a good power play
Mike
unit in the
Riley.
past. Um, Nelson, Horvat, and then Anders Lee is a good net front kind of guy. Yeah, I think they have the makings of a halfway decent top power play with Noah Dobson at the back end. But yeah, we'll see how long or if they get to that point. I think they will, and I think that means the beginning of the end for Tony D'Angelo in yet another NHL stop.
No way. He's putting down roots here. He's going to become. They're going to give him the key to the city. We're going to get a statue, a Tony D statue outside of what do they play there in on the island? Is it Nassau Coliseum still, or is that really old?
I think that's still correct. To be honest, I don't know.
If it is, I'm really impressed with myself. Um,
UBS Arena.
okay, that didn't
Yeah.
work out, but we'll just edit that later. So anyways, we're talking about Tony D'Angelo. I think he's a good option here for sure. Even if he's not on power play 1, if he's still getting over 20 minutes, this is an offensive-minded defenseman that can do stuff for fantasy, no question. Anders Lee, this guy's had a pretty damn nice season, I would say. And I do want to shout out just real quick, 18 Skaters. He just sent me an expected goal model that he's working on, and Anders Lee is actually 7th in the entire league at all strengths in expected goals on 18 Skaters expected goals model. That's crazy. Anders Lee, like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, Anders Lee has been doing pretty well all year. Like he ranks fourth in the league in individual scoring chances, 4 per 60 on the year. 32 goal pace, 58 point pace.
It's like a
Yeah,
Zach
it's
Hyman kind of thing. Like, do you think
oh
he's
for
kind of going
sure.
like
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
yeah, for sure. It is lesser version there, obviously, but yeah, I think in terms of the conversion, everybody's just hurt by the lack of Barzell on this team, except with the possible exception of Kyle Palmieri here, right? He's got 4 goals, 5 points in his last five, almost 19 minutes a night. 35th shots per 60, 65th individual scoring chances, 4 per 60. Seems like he's finally starting to turn his season around a little bit. I honestly, I would be hard pressed to pick between Palmieri and Lee rest of the season at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I'd probably go Lee there just based on what I've seen. But yeah, I mean, it's a coin flip at this point. I'm not really looking at the Islanders again in a week like this. I think there's some better options there. You can also get JGP, Pajot for bangers leagues, Romanov for bangers as well. He's out there. Let's talk about Winnipeg. This team is crushing me in one of my matchups here. A guy has all the Jets, and it's pissing me off. But we got Mom Spaghetti, Cole Perfetti, Nino Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, Vlad Dominskov. These are weird and hard names to say. And Dylan DeMello for bangers leagues. Talk to me about the Jets. Like, again, in a week like this, are we interested in any of these kind of fringe players?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get excited about any of these guys, right? Like Cole Perfetti's the one with the most talent. He does have 4 points in his last 5 games here, but still getting just over 15 minutes. 348th in shots per 60 over the last 5 games. Yeah, it's a tough spot to look for Winnipeg, and probably you're looking elsewhere.
Yeah. Damn. Who saw Winnipeg being such a wagon? Even for the last couple seasons, this is crazy. I mean, I don't get it. They just had an 11-game winning streak. Obviously, when you have elite goaltending like they have with Connor Hellebuck and sort of the way their top six is constructed, pretty damn nice. I don't know. Must be nice to have a winning team there. Hey, Nate. I mean, although the Toronto, they're doing good. I'm just talking out of my ass. The Canucks are terrible. Right? Let's agree on that. Sorry, I like asking Nate a question and then just blowing past the answer.
It's good stuff.
Sorry, I just swallowed my own spit, and I spilled beer on myself during what you were saying there. So
Just a classic Friday night for you.
Sitting in a puddle of a hoppy IPA. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways, next couple teams here. I want to do a little bit of rapid fire here with you, Nate. I'm going to name some players. I want you to name the players of interest for you of the players that I name. All right, and anything else you want to add. But there are a bunch of teams, 6 altogether, that play 4 games with 1 off night, and they are the Buffalo Sabres, Dallas Stars, Philadelphia Flyers, San Jose Sharks, Seattle Kraken. They've been released, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, starting in Buffalo. Oh God, these are easy questions. We got Peterka, so I'm going to take Peterka out of there, but he should definitely be rostered. Let's just say that. Why are you not rostering JJ Peterka? It doesn't make sense. But let me give you some players here: Bo Byram, Owen Power, the Power Glove, Jason Zucker, who's battling injury right now, Dylan Cousins, Jack Quinn, and Yuri Kulik. Who's your Huckleberry on Buffalo?
Yeah, I think you got to be interested in what. I mean, if you need a defenseman, first off, Byram and Power there. They're not exciting, but they are there. Dylan Cousins had a nice game. Singular.
Congratulations, Mr. Cousins.
But yeah, I'm still not super excited about that moving forward. I still think Kulik might have the highest long-term potential, but they also shuffled the lines a little bit here. Tuck was with Thompson and Greenway, and Tuck was on top power play actually, which basically hasn't happened all year. Wild stuff in Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, it's probably Cousins, but I don't really like a lot of the options after Peterka.
Yeah, it's weird. I'll go Jack Quinn. I think I'm gonna ride with Jack Quinn on that. I like what I've seen there, but yeah, it's potato at this point. These guys are all underachieving massively. Let's move over to Dallas. We got the Rush Wizard, Mason Marchment, Essa Lindell, put some stank on it. Logan Stankoven, Yevgeny Dadonov, Maverick Bork. Man, there's a bunch of names here. And what's this kid's name? I don't remember his first name. Leon or Liam Bishel? Bixel.
Leanne Bishel. Yeah.
Leanne. Okay. Is that his name?
I actually don't know if that's how you pronounce it, to be honest. I looked up his last name. And
Leon? Get to the NHL pronunciation site. What are we doing here?
Yeah, we should look this up again.
Okay. Leon, I'm going to guess it's Bixel. Leon
Lee,
Bixel.
Leanne, emphasis on the Leanne Bichelle.
Bichel.
Leanne Bichelle.
The end. I like your cadence there. That's very nice. Anyways.
I'm trying
Talk.
to follow the pronunciation guide, but
Okay. Uh,
yeah, he's been out, but he's a monstrous banger,
yeah,
like
absolutely.
elite level bangs when he's in the lineup. So keep an eye out for him if you're in Bangers Cats. Yeah, Marchman has come back and has struggled to find the score sheet, but yeah, definitely an option. They've been really shuffling the lines the last little bit. This latest game, Duchesne, Granlund, Marchment has been the most consistent line. Ben Dodonov and Johnston is a line here. Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, and Logan Stankoven was a line in this game. Stankoven scored twice.
Big game.
For the 2 games before this, it was Maverick Bork in that Stankoven spot on that line. That's why he's getting a shout out here. I don't know how much you can really trust it. I think you still go Marchment out of this group just because you really can't trust the deployment of the other guys lower down. But yeah, some of the other guys are potentially a little bit hotter. Like Stankoven, if he stays with Hinson Robertson, if you told me right now he was staying with them for all of next week, then I'd take Stankoven. But if you want to be a little safer, then Marchment's probably the play.
Yeah, they got the lines in a blender there. I'm a low key fan of Mason Marchman. It's just been throughout the year, just kind of what I'm seeing in some of these micro stats and how he sort of drives play on that line there. And obviously, it's weird. I feel like this is the season where I actually became a fan of Matt Duchesne. I mean, I have to be at this point, don't I? Like this guy's amazing. He doesn't stop. And obviously, he's got some good chemistry with Mason Marchment there when they do put them together. So I like Mason Marchment out of that group as well. Let's move on to Philly. We got Matt Michkov, Garnett Hathaway. I didn't see the play there. What exactly happened to Hathaway? Because I know it sounded a little bit scary. So is he good now? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, it was kind of like a blindside hit. Yeah, they're obviously worried about concussion, stuff like that.
Okay.
Sounds like he's cleared all the protocols and everything. It's just, whatever else got hit as he was hit there that he's working through. But yeah, it sounds like he should be back sooner rather than later. I think in Philly, I mean, uh, Mishkov is absolutely on fire right now. Five
Yeah.
goals, 10
Awesome.
points in his last five, fifth in shots per 66, individual scoring chances, 4 per 60. Still getting under 17 minutes a night because why would you want to play a guy more who's scoring 2 points in every game in limited minutes? That wouldn't make any sense, would it? Um, yeah, I think we're seeing Michkov blossom into a superstar in front of our eyes. The real question is whether John Tortorella will allow us to continue to watch it or if he'll bench him for some perceived defensive lapse. And I'm not betting on either scenario in that. It seems like a true 50-50 coin flip. But yeah, by far the biggest upside of just about any player that's widely available in Yahoo leagues is Matvei Michkov at the moment. Kuzmenko's up there. He's been playing on the top power play. Some decent underlying numbers as of late, playing also on the Konechny-Lawton line, which is a decent spot at even strength. Again, it's Philadelphia, it's John Tortorella. Everything will change by the time you have listened to this, so keep that in mind. Scott Lawton getting a lot of run, top power play as they showcase him for a potential trade here. Same goes for Rasmus Ristolainen on the back end, been power play one for a while as they try to move his contract as well.
Big Koozie. Oh, buddy. Remember that time Big Koozie got like a 27% shooting percentage? Just popped off in a year. That was lovely. He's a weird dude, man. Like every interview, it's like it seems a bit unhinged, but it's like unhinged in like kind of a happy way. Like he's just a weird, unhinged dude. I don't know. Eating Pepsi or drinking Pepsi, eating bananas on the bench. What a legend. But yeah, if Mitch comes out there, you got to get him. I think Kuzmenko's a reasonable ad. I honestly do. Like maybe not in this week, but yeah, power play one. It's an offensive player, and I'm surprised the minutes he's getting under Torts, even just over 16. That seems like that's more than he got on his other teams. So I don't know what Torts is doing there with Kuzmenko, but anyways, let's move on. San Jose is the next team. We got Tyler Toffoli. We got Zetterland out there, William Eklund, Will Smith, the Fresh Prince. What the hell is Kunin's first name? I can't remember.
Luke.
Now. Luke. I should remember that. Luke Kunin, bangers option. Mario Ferraro, Bangers option, right? So, I mean, you're not picking them up in points leagues, but talk to me. I think Toffoli is probably the clear winner here, the guy we want from this group. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Toffoli, Zetterlund, Eklund, Smith. Who are you taking from San Jose?
Yeah, it's clearly Toffoli. Really good underlying stats. Playing with Macklin Celebrini, which is the best place to be. William Eklund is also playing with Celebrini, getting over 19 minutes a night. He's got 4 points in his last five. He's definitely option number two. Zetterlund has some good underlying stats, but 15 minutes a night. Will Smith has not quite as good underlying stats, but still decent and has 4 points in his last five. Is on that top power play unit, about 16 minutes a night there. So Zetterlund and Smith, you can probably take your pick in a points league.
Yep, absolutely. I love William Eklund. I'm glad that's just a player I dug in a little bit on in the offseason. And I think we're hitting on that. He's pacing for 63 points. That's really nice. I think, I had him for something like 58. So I mean, I think he's having a real nice season, and which is a bit of a surprise. So there you go. Let's move over to Seattle. This is always going to be a difficult team to pick players from for fantasy. Currently, like some of the players we're looking at, Eli Tolvanen, obviously he's going to be valuable in bangers leagues. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Shane Wright, Matty Beniers, Jaden Schwartz, Capo Caco, Jordan Eberle, who is kind of being eased back into play as well. Is there anybody that's kind of standing out from this group of streamers here on Seattle?
Yeah, for me, if you're picking a streamer from Seattle at the moment, it's got to be Jaden Schwartz. Again, it never feels good to pick Jaden Schwartz, but 19 minutes a night, 53rd shots per 60, 47th individual scoring chances, 4 per 60. Literally everybody else is in like the 200s or 300s in these ranks. And so, yeah, it's Schwartz or nobody for me at the moment in Seattle.
What the hell? I'm just looking at these guys' projected points over 82 games. It's all between 40 and 50 points. Like,
Yeah.
yay! We're pretty excited over here. Yeah, but shout out to Shane Wright, 5 points in the last 5 games. That's nice. I think he's getting power play one quotations over there in Seattle, so that's an interesting piece as well. Last team here, 4 games and 1 off night. Tampa Bay Lightning. If Cirelli's out there, you probably should have him on a roster. He's playing really well, and he's playing with a red hot Brandon Hagel. It's going nuts this year. Nick Paul is out there, or what do we call him? Jones Paul. I think that's his. Yeah. Let's just, that's, I don't know. It's an inside joke. You have to go back like a bunch of episodes. It's not funny, is it, Nate? Inside jokes are not even, no, but we're having a nice time. And then Eric Cernak for bangers. I mean, I don't know. I don't think we need to talk about Tampa Bay too much there, unless you got anything on those players.
No, nothing to add there. Sorelli's the guy if you're making an ad from them.
He's a damn unit. The Italian stallion. Anthony Cirelli. All right, last thing we'll talk about here, then we'll get into the dream streams and all this stuff. Vancouver Canucks and the Vegas Golden Knights both played 3 games, all on the off nights. I'm going to run through this real quick. For Vancouver, it's not good. This team is second in the league, or second worst in the league in shots on goal per game. It's just a slog. It's horrible hockey to watch. That said, you can pick up these lovely streamers: Philip Hronik, Jake DeBrusk, Kiefer Sherwood. For your bangers leagues, Kiefer Sherwood does stuff. If your points league has any kind of banger weighting, this guy's he's doing stuff. I can't believe how many hits he has. He's amazing. That's what I watch the game for. I watch it for Kiefer Sherwood and Quinn Hughes. Kiefer Sherwood just go out there and beef like 10 guys a game, and then Quinn Hughes skate around dipsy doodling everywhere. Connor Garland's out there. Philip Hedl, who I actually really like. I think he's still, probably a year away, maybe more for truly reaching his potential there with the team, but he's getting some opportunity and he looks good out there. I just think he's got some conversion issues. And then Dakota Joshua for banger leagues as well. Anybody you're interested in here for Vancouver, Nate?
Yeah, I think it's Hedel at the top, 29th shots per 60, 27th individual scoring chances, 4 per 60 over the last 5. Garland would be next for me. And after that, yeah, I don't really care. It's pretty gross at the moment.
Not good. The macro P, Philip Hedl, buddy. They call him the tripod out here, and it's amazing. It's the guys that he has to get his jocks specially made. I don't know why I'm going with this. I'm sorry about that, folks. Shout out to Philip Hedl. Vegas Golden Knights. We got Pavel Dorofeev, who I talked about yesterday on the pod. I'm very high on that player, as you are as well, Nate. Ivan Barbashev, this is another player who I've kind of come around on this year. Just a guy that drives play. I'm surprised how much he's carrying the puck into the zone and setting up chances. Ivan Barbashev is doing that on the line that he's on, and he's really good at that. So I've changed my tune on him a little bit. I do like Ivan Barbashev, Braden McNabb for beefers, Keegan Colesaw for beefer leagues, Brett Howden, Brendan Saad. What tickles your fancy here? What do you think about Dorofeev and Barbashev? Who are you picking out of them?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting at the moment. They shuffled the lines around again, and the line that got the least amount of even strength ice time was Hurdle, Olofsson, Dorofeev. The line that got the most was Barbashev, Kolasar, Howden. Now, normally I'd say that's a pretty terrible line for Ivan Barbashev, but Barbashev does have 3 goals, 6 points in his last 5, so what do I know? Yeah, I would obviously take Dorofeev as the top guy there. Barbashev would be number 2. Yeah, I mean, Howden has good underlying metrics, and he's got 7 assists in his last 5 games. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know,
crazy stuff.
you have to at least mention it at this point, right? So there is that. Brandon Saad I threw in here just because he's playing with Mark Stone and Jack Eichel in the last game here at even strength. He hasn't really done a whole lot with that, but he is there.
He's noticeable out there. I did watch a little bit of the Vegas game, and he looks pretty good. Nate, talk to us about the Patreon. All right, this is what the people came here for.
Right. $2 a month gets you access to patron only live shows. There will be another one coming up soon for March. $8 a month, Apple's tier gets you access to the patron only live shows and access to patron only Discord channels. It also gets you access to the show notes, like the notes that Blake and I are working from for the show right here. Also gets you access to the Apples and Genos player evaluation tool, which can help you make those add, drop, or trade decisions. For $15 a month, if you want to become a true degenerate in the sport of fantasy hockey, Geno's tier exists just for you. Gets you all the previous perks mentioned, plus every single question you want to ask me, guaranteed to be answered. Blake, what do you think? Should we get into some dream streams now?
Yeah, definitely, buddy. But first, I mean, you got to up that $15 tier, right? Because Nate, he won't just answer fantasy hockey questions; he'll answer personal questions, right? He'll give you life advice, and I'll tell you, I've been taking him up on that, and I've never been happier. So, anyway, shout out to you, Nate. You're definitely undervaluing yourself. Let's talk about the dream streams.
Let's do it. This is basically where I just rank the players best for points. Yeah, I am going to be going off the off nights because, yeah, for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different, right? So if you have some of these guys who you can get them in on the heavy night, then maybe they would move up for me, and I can try to delineate that a little bit as I move through here. But at the top, Lexi Protas, the 4 off nights, big ups for him there for sure. Then we move into the 3 off night crew: Troy Terry, Pavel Dorofeev, Quentin Byfield. That feels like a tier for me. Those 3 up top. Then you move into Barbashev, Leferrier, Moore, McTavish, Lacombe, and then Warren Fogle a little bit further down here. So I guess I could just kind of try to say who I would take over protests if you would get all 4 games from these guys. So of the guys that I mentioned, I think it is those top 3: Terry, Dorofeev, Byfield. I would all take over protests if you're getting all 4 games from those 3. Um, then I think I would take protests over Barbashev, Leferrier, Moore, that crew, even if you are getting 4 games from those guys. How about you, Blake? You got a bone to pick with my rankings here?
No, absolutely not. I'm glad you kind of clarified that because, yeah, it's an interesting week, right? You don't need the off nights, but Protoss is great as well. But I like the way you rank that. I also, again, Jackson Lacombe at 9th. I think I might have him a little bit higher. I just want to see what this guy can do. I'm maybe it's not warranted, but I'm weirdly excited about this player moving forward.
Fair enough. Let's talk about bangers. Best for hits ranked here. Will Cooley has to be the top. Gudas, Tanner Janot from LA, he does that. Brandon Duhaime and Martin Brewery from the Washington Capitals, obviously getting you the 4 off nights there. So if you need that, go with Duhaime or Brewery. And best for blocks ranked: Braden Schneider, Radko Gudas, Jacob Trouba, Vladislav Gavrikov, Will Borgen. These guys all do that. Braden Schneider, as you mentioned, big time banger, and especially on the blocks front. So I love that for him. Anything to add on the banger side of things, Blake, before we start holding me?
No, I feel good about this. I would like to hold you though.
All right. Well, this is the segment where we talk about holding me. Specifically, holding Logan Cooley, he's dipped below 50% rostered, which is unbelievable stuff. He definitely should be picked up. Yeah, at this point, I'm basically expecting Logan Cooley to score at a 70-point pace for the rest of the season. That's where I'm at. Brian Rust, Marco Rossi, Tyler Toffoli, Troy Terry, Adam Fantilli, Dmitry Voronkov, Nick Schmaltz. Kind of the same suspects we've been talking about kind of all year. Lots of guys that are still widely available here. Did want to shout out Adam Fantilli, 31% rostered. The guy has 21 points in 21 games played since January 1st. It's just shocking that he hasn't been rostered in more leagues. There's a pretty solid chance at this point with how well he's played that he just continues on being the top line center even when Monahan comes back. Beyond those guys, yeah, Dorofiev, Michkov. I would love to have Michkov higher. I think he's got the highest ceiling of any of the players that I mentioned so far, but I just can't personally do it when there's every chance in my mind still that Torts will just bench him or scratch him. All those options are still out there for me, so can't rank him any higher in good conscience. Paterka, Byfield, Protest, Malkin has reoccurred and is doing stuff once again. Boone Jenner has 5 assists in his first 3 games back. I thought you might like that one, Blake. Kent Johnson, Ivan Barbashev, and Jonathan Drouin rounded out for me here. Anybody you want to highlight, Blake?
Yeah, well, I was going to highlight Boone Jenner. I just love that he's, he's back. 5 assists in 3 games for Boone Jenner, and he's doing stuff out there. Like I just pulled him up here, like 41st overall and individual scoring chances, 4/60. Pretty damn nice, Boone. Thank you for your service. Unbelievable jawline on this man. It's crazy, right? Like that can cut glass. If he hits you with his face, you're basically going to die. Right, because it's like it's like adamantium. You know what Wolverine has? Like that's kind of what's going on there. Anyways, you get what I'm saying.
I absolutely do. Let's move on to forwards that are sub 20% rostered. Here I have Mason McTavish, Barrett Hayton, Morgan Geeky, William Eklund, Jaden Schwartz, Kyle Palmieri, and Teuvo Teravainen. I do have Hayton here because, we don't know for a fact that he will get moved off by Logan Cooley on the top power play. If he does hang on to top power play, then it'll be well worth the pickup for sure. Morgan Geeky has been popping off in Boston. That's something you got to take a look at. Palmieri has been popping off as of late as well. Worth taking a look at there. Sub 10% rostered, Matt Coronado, Tyler Bertuzzi, Andrei Kuzmenko, Trevor Zegras when he gets back from his suspension, Marco Kasper, Yuri Kulik, Morgan Frost, and Victor Olofsson. Any guys you want to highlight from the lower rostered ranges here?
Yeah, I like Geeky. I like the deployment right now. I think he's getting like 20 minutes a night over the last 5 games. That's excellent. And great opportunity there. So I think that's kind of a sneaky little pick. 16% rostered. Sign me up.
All right, moving on to the defense. Jackson Lacombe is still only 38% rostered, which is borderline criminal at this point. Mason Lohrei, 18% rostered. And with Lindholm and McAvoy out for the foreseeable future here, Lohrei is going to get a chance to run power play 1 and have some massive minutes there in Boston as they make a playoff push. Cam Fowler, Philip Ronek, Brady Shea. Maybe you want to move up Brady Shea if you're starting to feel a little bit more worried about Roman Josi missing significant time here. I can see that for sure. Luke Hughes, Bowen Byram, Tony DeAngelo I've still got here just because he still had good minutes, still good power play time. So I threw him on still at the end here. Sub 20% rostered, obviously Lohrei, top of the list there. Fowler, Justin Falk, Cam Fowler, Justin Falk, very similar to me. Jared Spurgeon, and then I did throw in Ristolainen there. I think it's most likely that after his audition period ends, no matter where he goes, if he stays in Philly or if he goes somewhere else, that he does get bumped off the top power play again. It's at least worth it if you're desperate and you're looking for somebody this far down in the 4% range. Ristolainen is probably that guy.
Yep. Absolutely, buddy. I love Jackson Lacombe, as I said, but Luke Hughes as well, who I talked about yesterday. Just players I'm really interested in towards the end of the season here.
Right, and lastly, we'll talk about some goaltenders because we're contractually obligated to. Elvis Merzlikins, Karel Vimelka, Samuel Urson, Lucas Dostal are at the top of the list here. I think there's a real conversation with the way that things have gone for Vimelka here that you could take him over Merzlikins. Merzlikins has kind of been that lower rostered starter on a good team now. I think we're safely calling the Blue Jackets a good team. We see what the addition of Boone Jenner has meant to this lineup. Marchenko coming back, obviously,
Yeah.
sooner than expected from his broken jaw. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting conversation. Who would you take, Blake, between Merzlikins and Vimelka rest of the season?
I probably roll Merzlikins. I just like the vibe in Columbus there. I feel like, there's kind of an aspect that there's just, I mean, it sounds floofy, but with the Johnny Gaudreau stuff and Boone Jenner coming back now, Good Branson looks like he might be back soon. Like the core, of this team and the emotional core of this team is coming back. Werenski's playing all world right now. I feel good about that team.
Yep. Worth mentioning as well, Samuel Urson appears to be a volume starter now in Philadelphia, as he should be. They have literally no one else who's
Yep.
NHL caliber. He did give up 5 goals on 25 shots against Pittsburgh here in the last game. But prior to that, he had 5 straight games where the most goals against he allowed was 3. So, yeah, he's been not terrible, I would say, as of late. And that's worth noting if you're running 0G. Sub 25% rostered. I've got Arvid Soderblom here. I honestly think that Soderblom, I mean, it's not up for debate. He's been far better than Petr Mrazek. Mrazek has been awful
Yep.
pretty much every time he's gotten a start. He got pulled and Soderblom came in, and Soderblom started the 2 games prior to that. I'm really starting to feel like this is just going to tilt over and it's going to be 2 out of every 3 for Soderblom rest of the way. Archer Shielovs is, it looks like it's a bit of a 50-50 split. I don't know if you got any insight there, Blake. I was just eyeing that earlier today.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 split. I think it's going to be Lankinen, kind of like a 60-40 split like that,
Okay.
or maybe even more 65-35. That's my take there. But Sealoves did look good until he didn't. It was weird. He played an amazing game, but the goals he gave up, he was way out of position. So it's a work in progress there, Archer Sealoves.
Okay. All right. That brings us to the end of Hold Me. Let's talk about the head-to-head streamer
Let's talk about
deathmatch.
that. Oh, yeah.
This is once again an embarrassment for myself. Blake goes Kent Johnson, a 3 game streamer, and of course, Kent Johnson pops off 13.5 points in 2 games. I go Alex Laferriere. I was super excited about this pick. I thought it was a slam dunk. He has thrown up some donuts, 3.25 on kickoff points in 3 games played so far. 1 more game to go. I need probably like a hat trick plus like a ridiculous amount of blocks randomly out of Laferriere to win it.
I don't know. There's still a chance. Let's not rule anything out. But whenever you go against Kent Johnson, you got to pay. I'm sorry about that.
All right. Well, if you made it this far, you should definitely clink the link in the
Clink it.
description. It's we'll bring you to the Discord community where 1,500 fantasy managers are all talking fantasy hockey all day, every day. Like, rate, review, subscribe, comment, whatever you're able to do in the moment really does help us out. But that is going to be all that we've got for this episode. Hopefully, it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. All the advanced stats you heard today came from Natural Stat Trick, which is a terrific free resource. Many thanks to the band there for supplying music for the podcast. Be sure to check out their Spotify as well. That's it, folks. Much love.